Hello, I just wanted to ask you a few questions about finances. So, if you could tell me your experience about finance from the early childhood to the present. So, we can start with your first encounter with the money.
Mm. Well, it's pretty hard to remember exactly. I mean, I guess you have to put it in context. I grew up in middle income Britain. My parents sort of middle earners. Um, but as a sort of middle class kid in Britain, you don't really engage with money, and you're not taught it at school. Until perhaps I guess I remember getting pocket money first around 8 or 9 years old.
How
So
much was it?
it would be sort of at £5 at that sort of age, and it did sort of increase as I got older a little bit. £5 a week, at that age, which to some people is a lot of money, of course. But it was at that sort of time that I realised what I could buy with £5, which isn't actually that much. At the time I was into models and painting these sort of Games Workshop Warhammer models, and £5 would buy you a set, like maybe 10 plastic models, or if you wanted to get the really fancy lead-based models, because they used to be made from lead, then they would be, for one you'd buy for £5, or a little one for £2.50. So it was at that sort of time I really had an idea of what it would buy me. But I do remember before that, penny sweets, when they were actually a penny. They don't call them penny sweets anymore because you buy them by the weight. But back when I was a sort of 5 or 6, they were a penny sweet, and you'd go into a shop and there'd be this stall of all your penny sweets and different things, a few wasps flying around, and you'd buy them by the penny. And so I guess that was the first time I really knew what a penny would get you. Of course, it changes as you get older, and the value of things changes. But yeah, so when I was young, it didn't really, and as I say, we weren't really taught at school about it. Not that I remember. I have no memories of being taught at school about how to deal with money, and the sort of financial stuff that you'd need to understand later in life. Which is odd. You'd have thought that school would teach the children, the citizens to be, teach them how to deal with money. And no, it's not the case at all. Like a weekly shop. What's a weekly shop to your parents? And I guess it would have cost, anywhere around £100 for my parents to get a week or two's worth of shopping in. But I wasn't aware of that. I didn't really become aware of how much it was to buy food in and to pay for the bills until I started doing it myself. And that happened when I went to university.
How did it make you feel when you first had to put some money aside and had to save up for general expenses?
Well, I think I was quite good at it. What I observed at university was a lot of people would spend their money very quickly, and then they'd be in their overdrafts because all the banks nowadays give student bank accounts, and each of these accounts, you can get an overdraft facility of £1,000, and they're quite happy to lend you that, of course. But yeah, I was good at managing my money. I didn't really get into debt very much, but I did see a lot of people just spend ridiculous amounts in the first few months of university, and then struggle through the rest of the year until their next loan came through. But it was certainly a period of growing up quickly. You know, you have to. You have to, because, as I say, you're not taught it at school. So you come out into the big wide world and you just have to learn, otherwise you can get yourself into some real trouble.
So, what's
Yeah.
your experience in earning money versus spending money? Where is the sweet spot of finding what you can get, or if you should think for future about what you're gonna spend?
Well, I think that you tend to live within your means, and whatever you're earning, you will find a way to spend. I have found it very difficult to save large amounts of money. Say I wanted to get a house and mortgage, because rent is so expensive in the UK, and it just and all the bills on top. And I've been in education a long time, and I did my PhD, and I've not really been earning a lot of money, and so I found it just disappears, and I tend to just live within my means, as I say, and spend what I've got. Although I have spent chunks of money, say going to India, I spent about £1,000 going there and things like that. So it swings and roundabouts really. But yeah, from my perspective, from the amount of money I've earned, I tend to just live within my means. I think if I was earning, if I got myself an academic position like £25,000 or more a year, I could start saving, and that's really what I'm aiming for now. I've been through a few jobs. My last job was in archaeology, as you know, and I did that for 6 months, and I was earning, say, £18,000 a year. But I spent it all, and it was very easy to do that because of all my outgoings. It was not an amount of money that gave me the ability to save money. And I think that's quite important to realise in the context of the society we have, is that people constantly are living within their wages, particularly at the sort of lower end of the kind of earnings scale. So yeah, it's. I would say it's it just spends itself really.
Yeah. So your recommendation would be know how much you're earning and know how much you're spending, so you don't go to overdraft.
One thing I need to do more is to budget things in like a spreadsheet, so that I can actually see where my outgoings are, and that because it's not something I've really done, and so I can't say with certainty over the past year I've spent this much on rent and this much on electric, and that would be very useful, wouldn't it?
Right.
It would be very useful to have a very clear amount set for each thing, and then you would know how much you could be saving. But yeah, I haven't done that. I think that's
So,
definitely something I would advise anyone to do, is to keep a record of what they're spending. And that means saving your receipts and writing it down. And I would recommend to do that.
fantastic. Well, thank you for your time and catch up with you later.